I admire Jesse Armstrong so much because it was a very brave decision.
What was the brave decision that the Succession creator made? I'm gonna let Colbert warn you this time around.
With a spoiler alert to everybody who's watching this. If you haven't seen last night's episode of Succession, pause the show, go watch it, and then come back sometime in the next 3 days so the ratings count for this episode.
I'll wait a few more seconds to make sure that those people that wanted to pause or stop or run away have successfully done so. Okay, so the HBO series delivered quite a shock in episode 3 of its final season. Brian Cox is shocked that he managed to keep it a shock for viewers.
I'm hopeless at keeping secrets. It was a triumph, an absolute triumph.
But when Jesse told Brian that Logan Roy wouldn't make it to the series finale,
I think today's the day.
Brian wasn't really shocked.
I said, fine.
Now for Jeremy Strong, he did figure, given the title of the show, that a succession had to happen at some point.
I wasn't terribly surprised. I thought it made sense, dramaturgically. And then when I read the script, I found it shocking and emotionally devastating.
Is he gone, Frank? I mean, is he gone?
And Brian even worked after his character's death to ensure that the audience felt that emotionally devastating shock of Logan's death. He kept coming to set at various points through the shooting of the yet-to-air 7 episodes to ensure that no one suspected his early exit. He even came to set for his own funeral.
I thought, I better go because I know there's going to be a lot of paparazzi there. And as sure as eggs, I went there, and as soon as I got out of the car, they started clicking away. So immediately I was able to put off the fact that it was my funeral.
His presence threw the Daily Mail off the scent, thinking it must be Shiv or Tom who kicked the bucket, since Sarah and Matthew weren't seen on set that day. Now, while Brian worked to keep the secret, the rest of the cast worked to convey their characters' grief.
Your dad is very sick. He's very, very sick.
What?
For Kieran Culkin, to convey that, you have to experience it to a certain extent.
To some extent, this is just, my job, and I'm trying to keep the emotional stakes up and put the character through that, and then go home. But the problem with that is going home, yeah, that was Roman going through that, but physically, I actually had to go through that.
Yeah, while they might be able to leave the actual work at work, they're not able to leave the emotions that come with it as well.
It's this weird disconnect of feeling physically like I've gone through some sort of emotional trauma, but I haven't.
To avoid that weird psychological dichotomy, Sarah Snook makes sure to switch Shiv off as soon as the director yells cut.
I found it was better for me to pull out of it completely so that it could be fresh still, because for me, staying in means that it dulls and it's not good.
And if Sarah's good, it means Alan Ruck is going to be good too.
I was taught a long time ago that you just have to accept the fact that your performance is going to come from all the other characters around you.
They think he's dead.
And when Sarah came in to tell me, and Sarah was a puddle, that it was just like game over. You don't have to act.
So while Logan's had his final act, it's not game over for Succession, who still have 7 episodes to go.
Dad's gone.
We have to trust each other.
And what about me? Go on, lie to me.
And just because Brian ain't acting in the show anymore doesn't mean he's not aware when it's over.
Do you know how the series ends?
Yeah.
Can you whisper in my ear?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it, to be honest, but it makes perfect sense that you'd want that character to die before the series finale. I mean, his death almost happened in the series premiere. But yeah, if it happened in the finale, the actual ascension of his successor would be fairly rushed, and you'd have to have a lot of people crying through that episode too. So just like This Is Us moved Rebecca's death to the second last episode, Succession has 7 more episodes to play out the succession. So narratively, it's a very smart move, but it is still surprising to see the lead of a series and an iconic character like Logan Roy die before the show ends. I'm sure you were shocked, but now that you've had about 36, almost 36 hours to come to terms with it, do you see it as a good move for the show narratively?
It's going to be hard when the public see that he's gone in episode 3. I think they're going to find it tough.
And if you're already missing Logan Roy, well, Brian Cox on Colbert last night has a parting gift for you.